How are we doing? It is Manchester City 1, Chelsea 1. And I bet there's a certain manager out there, ex-manager, that watched that game with a little bit of egg on his face. Because I watched an under-21 manager step in today with all the pressure on his shoulders after all the drama that's been surrounding the club recently, going away to the Etihad, his first senior game in charge up against probably the best in the game, probably one of the best ever in the game, in Pep Guardiola. Sorry, I can't say his name properly. And gain a point. When you look at the lineup as well, and you look at the substitutions and the tactical tweaks that he made in the game, I'm looking at that game going, you know what? This is what good managers do. Now, I've only seen one game from Callum, but this is what good managers do. Good managers manage a game. They don't rely on their system to win the game. They look at the problems that are there on the pitch and they make adjustments to try and win the game. Now look at the substitute. Now look at the lineup to begin with. No Sanchez in goal. Jorgensen starts. No Cucurella. Gusto has to go left back. No Wesley Fofana. Badiashile starts with Chalobah. Trust Achampong to play right back up against what could have been Doku. Imagine that. Luckily, they went with 2 10s in Cherki and Foden. Centre midfields of James and Enzo. There's no Caicedo. He's suspended. Left wing, Neto. 10 position, Palmer. Right wing, Esteval. Up top, João Pedro. So with all of those key players missing, this is a tough task against the Man City team that, although they dropped points recently, has started to kind of kick into gear and start, making their move to try and put the pressure on Arsenal. Now, obviously, we've dented that today big time, and Arsenal fans are going to love it. But you got to look at what was going on in that game and the changes that he made, which led to that 1-1. Now, that first half, for us, very, very poor. There was no real talking points for Chelsea in that first half, other than a cross from Pedro Neto that found its way to Esteval, took a shot inside the box, very good block. That was it. You're not talking about anything else other than that. There was probably a corner in there as well that ended up being a foul on Donnarumma. But that was it. And there wasn't many chances in the game. That Esteval chance came pretty much 20, 25 minutes in, and then Foden went down the other end and missed the sitter. So that first half, not much really going, especially from Chelsea, nothing really going on. It was all City. City just constant pressure, trying to create chances, trying to probe and trying to get the shots off. Towards the end of that half is when the chances started happening, with Haaland hitting the post, Reinders scoring his goal, which came from a mistake again, usual suspects. Badiashile trying to pass out of the back, a poor pass. Reece James couldn't get it under control. He's pressured very quickly. The ball makes its way through. Half-hearted interception by Badiashile, falls to Reinders, who just smashes it into the goal. Jorgensen, he ain't saving that, I'll be honest with you. I think a lot of keepers would struggle to save that. He absolutely levered it. Good goal, 1-0 Manchester City. They deserved it. They were the better side in that first half. They had all the control, all of the possession. They looked efficient. They looked tidy on the ball. Their ball control was very good. And I think that was something that we were struggling with in that first half. We looked very unclean on the ball, if that makes sense. Not very tidy, Our ball control, I think we struggle with in general. I think we've got a general problem in the squad with ball control. How many times do you see us miscontrolling and it going out for a throw-in? All the time. All the time. And I think James and Enzo, although I think they played very, very well today, for me, Enzo was the man of the match. I thought James done okay. There was a couple things about his performance that I wasn't overly happy with, but I thought he'd done well for what he was up against today. 2 in that midfield struggled in that first half big time. Now, they weren't playing badly. Enzo Fernandez in that first half, I thought, was very good defensively. I thought Reece James was doing well defensively. But I felt like he was doing things a little bit too slow in that first half. Now, the problem that, like I said, is that when the ball's up in the air and it's in them tight spaces and we're trying to bring the ball down and play, we're not neat enough, we're not efficient enough with what we're doing. Now, them two had the toughest job of the day today, because they were the ones that they were relying on for them to get the ball out to your Cole Palmers, to your wingers, to your João Pedros, to make something happen and get it forward. But they couldn't get it out. We was crowded in that middle. I was saying at half-time, we need to bring an extra man in the middle and try and control this and get a little bit more going in that midfield, because they need help. I didn't think Cole Palmer was helping at all in that first half, you know, especially when you just, your two midfielders here are struggling. They can't get the ball to you. You need to offer a little bit more, maybe come back and get it. And I don't think he was doing that enough. And I don't think he was good enough on the ball today. I think he made some really strange decisions, lazy passing. It was kind of like half-asked, if you know what I'm saying. Like, he couldn't be bothered. That's what it looked like on the pitch. Like, it was a bit like, lackadaisical, half-hearted passing and decision-making that you just think, come on, Palmer, man, you're better than this. I need to see more from you, especially when we're struggling like that and you need someone to lift us. Get the ball to him. Let's do something. Esteval struggled today, couldn't really get on the ball, couldn't do anything. I don't think it was a game that suited him. Neto, for me, God, mate, this guy is a frustrating footballer. I'm not going to lie. And I don't know whether it's because he's been coached to play that way by Maresca. You know, let's get the ball, stop, slow it down. Let's look back and see if we can pass backwards, rather than going forward and direct, driving at your player, try and get the ball in the box, try to do something dangerous. It was every single time like we would look like we was going to do something and he was on the ball, it was slowed up. And it was just killing our attacks, killing us. It was frustrating to watch, I'm not going to lie. I thought he didn't have a good game at all. João Pedro, I thought, struggled in there. There was a few things that João Pedro had done okay with, in my opinion. But that first half, we couldn't get into Man City's half at all, to be fair. It was like a battering ram. They were just coming at us and at us and at us. Defensively, I thought we done well in that first half. I thought we made it very difficult for them to break us down. We was reading what they was doing. They kept passing the ball out to the right-hand side to Bernardo Silva, cutting it back for a Nunes cross. Didn't pay off until, obviously, they get a goal from a mistake from us. And that's what happens when you make mistakes. You get punished. So 1-0 going into the first half. We come out the second half, and obviously some tactical tweaks needed to happen. He swaps Achampong for Gusto. So they've swapped sides now. Gusto's now on the right-hand side. He brings on Santos for, I can't remember who he took off, you know. Who did he bring? Oh, Esteval. He brought Santos on for Esteval and added an extra body in there, moved Cole Palmer out onto the right-hand side. Neto stayed on the left. Allowed Enzo to play a little bit further forward and have a little bit more control, but he was free roaming. He was everywhere. I thought he played very well today. Santos come on. Fantastic. This is a player that Enzo Maresca didn't trust. Didn't want to play him. Brings him on. I thought he was solid. I thought he was very good today when he come on the pitch. Now, them little tactical tweaks changed the way that we played and changed the way that City had to play. And what you saw was the game opening up, us having more opportunities, us probing them a little bit more, getting in their half a little bit more. It wasn't always one-way traffic. And I think we made it a little bit more difficult for them to play their game. I think it eased the pressure on the midfield. Reece James and Enzo Fernandez, I thought, were very good today. Very, very good. I do think, like I said, Reece James, out of the two, I think he struggled a little bit more than Enzo. A couple of things with his passing, etc., and taking a bit too long on the ball. But overall, I think he done okay. He also brings Hato on, another player that wasn't trusted by Enzo Maresca. Bit of a rusty start. Didn't have the best of starts. Makes a mistake straight away. And then the second time the ball comes to him, it goes out of play from another mistake from him, miscontrol. But then after that, I thought he looked really comfortable on the ball, controlled. There was a last-ditch tackle at one point that stopped at what could have been 2-0. Achampong, by the way, I thought was brilliant in that first half. I thought he played really, really well. I think we're looking at a player now that, you know, is a little bit more trustworthy than we think. You know, if you're playing up against the City team and you're putting in performances like that, you're showing that you're almost there. Do you know what I'm saying? So I was very happy with Achampong today. But yeah, we keep probing. We're getting more chances in that second half. And eventually it comes down to like the 94th minute. Oh, yeah, he brought on Liam Delap, sorry. Before all of that, he brings on Liam Delap. Now, Delap looked active, looked very active. Obviously, João Pedro coming off. And the ball was sticking. It was coming up top. He was laying it off. He was chesting it down. He was bringing in other players into the game. And we gained something from him coming on the pitch, which is very good because he ain't been good enough. But today, very happy with Delap's performance. Keep picking up the ball, driving towards the goal, making the defenders track back. And, we started to turn the tide a little bit and make these defenders do something. And when we put them under pressure, the whole game flips into a different scenario, momentum-wise, etc., etc. So it's not all one way, but obviously City have the ability to go down the other end and just score a goal. So we had to be switched on in defence as well. And I think that second half was a pretty decent performance, if I'm being honest with you. I think we tried, and in the end, we got our reward. Gusto knocking the ball past O'Reilly, whips the ball into the box. It goes past everybody. Has a little touch from Nathan Ake, I think. Manages to get to Enzo Fernandez, who just toe pokes at home. Donnarumma makes a save initially. And then he toe pokes at home and we're 1-1. That's the 94th minute, and that's pretty much the game done. Pretty much the game done. There was one last chance down the other end where it nearly went out for a corner where Palmer, for some reason, who I don't understand his decision making today. I really weren't happy with Palmer today, if I'm being honest with you. But he tried switching the ball to the other wing for some reason when he could have gone down the same wing that we was on. And it led to a Man City chance. That was probably the last thing that happened in the game. But yeah, we go away with it with a point gained. And I think that is down to the manager and his management of the game. Trusting players to come on and make a difference. And the substitutions did. They all come on and they all made a difference. So very happy that happened. Very happy that we managed to gain a point in a game that looked like we weren't going to get anything, especially after, like I said, all the drama surrounding the club. Liam Rosenior apparently is on his way to London now from Strasbourg. We all knew this was going to happen. They were putting out news reports today that, there was other candidates in there, Felipe Luis. That's bollocks. They didn't have anyone. They didn't consider anyone. Let's be real. They didn't even ask anybody else. We all knew it was going to be Rosenior. They put out a bunch of PR. We are going to get the next Strasbourg manager. And when you weigh it up, we've gone from hiring World Cup winners, Champions League winners, league winners, to, we're talking about some serious legends of the game. Your Ancelotti's, your Jose Mourinho's, just won the Champions League, won the league report. Do you know what I mean? And then we've hired a Brighton manager, an ex-Spurs manager, Leicester manager, and now we're hiring a Strasbourg manager that's managed Derby and Hull. Like, really? That's the standard, and the problem is when you mention standard around certain Chelsea fans, they go, oh, the standard under Roman and all this. Like, you lot take the fucking piss. You lot are mad to even consider standards Roman and try and compare the two from Clear Lake, Bluco to Roman era. You're just taking the piss. You don't deserve to be a Chelsea fan, in my opinion, if you're ever going to do that. Don't start giving me this standard fucking Pelly shit. Not having it. When you just look at the recruitment from day dot, we all moan about the recruitment. We've all moaned about Enzo Maresca getting a sack because he wasn't backed. He wasn't backed. But he's part of that recruitment process as well. He was one of those managers coming in from Leicester with hardly any experience, learning on the job. You've got Liam Rosenior now coming in, who's probably got more experience than he did when we first employed him, who's going to be learning on the job. We've got the same situation. It does start at the top, I agree with you. But Enzo Maresca also had a part to play in where we are today. He was not good enough this season at all. He's made mistakes after mistakes after mistakes, relied on his system too much, tried to perfect his system too much to the point where he's now saying, I need players for my system. We saw an under-21s manager he didn't out-tactic Pep, but he made changes in the game that changed the game. That's how simple it is. If you understand the game, you see the problems, you change the problems, and it changes. This is what happens. That is a result of what's happened. You manage the game. You don't need to just sit and rely on your system and make changes in your system and just hope for the best and just carry on playing the same way. It just doesn't, it don't work like that. So in the end, 1-1 at the Etihad. You've got to take it. It's a 1 point gained, definitely, because it looked like we was going to lose. Obviously, we'd always like to win. Fans are probably going to say we're celebrating another 1-1 win. You know how they did it with like that? Yeah, whatever, man. But listen, 1-1 win at the Etihad, whatever. Do you know what I mean? We've got to take that point because we need as many points as we can because we're struggling for top 4 right now. So Liam Rosenior is going to be the next manager. I didn't expect this to be a draw. We've managed to get a point. We now need to take that because all of them players will go back into that dressing room going, do you know what? Yeah, well done, boys. You know what? We came together in a moment of, shit, and that's what we managed to get out of the game. So well done, boys. Do you know what I'm saying? And I saw Reece James after the game Callum, go stand in the front. This was on you, kind of thing. And fair play to him. What a captain! That's what it's about. Well done. You coached this. Go on. I like that. But yeah, no, happy with the point. Who have we got next? Don't even know. It was looking bleak. I'm not going to lie, but Fulham away. Now that's going to be. I mean, we beat Fulham away last year, didn't we? Was it last year? Tyreek George was that the game? I think it was. Fulham are going to be up for it. Obviously, they consider it a really strong rivalry. I don't think Chelsea fans really give a shit about Fulham, but we call it the London derby. They're like our nice neighbour. Do you know what I mean? But I think Fulham fans see it differently, so they'll be proper up for it. But yeah, I think we've just got to use. I mean, what was Fulham's score today? Did they 2-2 against Liverpool? So they've managed to get a good draw. We've managed to get a good draw. We're going to need to use what we've done in this game, build on it, and hopefully go into that game and get a win. That game is. When's that game? Is that Saturday or Sunday? Is it midweek? We've got FA Cup this weekend, so it must be. It's midweek. It's on Wednesday. 7:30 on a Wednesday. So, daughter's got football. I'll see if I can do a live stream. I'll try and get it up and do a live stream. We'll have to see about that one. I don't know what the situation is going to be, but yeah, Fulham away next. Then we go to Charlton, FA Cup at the weekend. And then after that, our next fixture is Arsenal in the League Cup at Stamford Bridge. Maybe we can get another 1-1 win. You know what I'm saying? Another 1-1 win. So not the easiest of fixtures and not the easiest period of games, coming quite fast. It's great timing from Enzo Fernandez. Obviously, he didn't want to take the brunt of it, knowing that his management weren't working and knowing he hasn't been supported. There's two sides to it. Do you know what I mean? I do agree that he weren't supported, but at the end of the day, I don't think he done good enough himself, and I think he's kind of left us in the lurch, to be fair. So I'm not happy with him, although I do understand his points at the same time. But we are where we are. We've got to do better. We've got to get some points on the board. That's all we can say. I think Arsenal are going to win it. So it is what it is. Going to have to kind of accept that now because it's going to be absolutely unbearable in May. But we move up the CHELS. See you in a bit.